Hey, everybody. Welcome to Off the Wall. My name is Mike, and I am joined by, down below first, joined by...
Bogz, how are we all doing?
And over there, we got...
Hi, so...
I'm not a meteorologist, folks. I just talk about movies and things. And streaming series, which is what we're here to talk about today. They've launched the new Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus. The first 2 episodes dropped today, and boy howdy, it feels good to have some new Star Wars again. I say that like it's been a long time. We just had Book of Boba Fett, but still. And so we're gonna give our general thoughts and feelings about the show in general, about episode 1 here, and then we'll delve into some more spoilerific territory after that. We'll give you guys a heads up when. Although honestly, if you haven't seen it yet, why are you here? Anyway, let's get into this thing. I want to start with Bogz. Episode 1, we don't know what we're getting. The trailers, I think, did a pretty good job of keeping things fairly close to the chest. How did you feel going into this first episode, and how did you feel coming out of it?
So going in, I mean, I was aware of. They did mention somewhere along the lines of Obi-Wan is going to be in some kind of depressed state, finding himself. Obviously, we did see in the trailer, similar to "It's time for the Jedi to end," as Luke in The Last Jedi. They really like saying that lately. I've noticed. The Jedi is by himself and he wants to end it. But yeah, so I did. To be honest, my overall anticipation was hindered slightly after the Book of Boba Fett. Bar the 2 excellent episodes, which were the Mandalorian ones in effect, the overall series was not amazing, and had good moments, but overall it had left a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth. So that's for a big character. Obviously, he doesn't have the most lines in the movies, but he is a big character in the Star Wars lore. And after that ended, I was slightly underwhelmed. So that kind of affected my anticipation going into Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it was massively anticipated at one point. It went via at the point of Disney's takeover. So going in, the last couple of weeks, I haven't been massively edge of my seat looking forward to it as I really hoped I would be. Overall, I mean, I think it's okay. There are some good moments, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but some really frustrating moments, I feel. One character in particular, and I just the slower episode on the first one, a lot more emotional parts to it. I did enjoy some of them elements, but second episode was a bit quicker, but also a bit slower as well at points. But obviously great to see Ewan McGregor back. He's one of my favorite characters, of course, and Obi-Wan is in general. But yeah, lots of thoughts. But it was okay overall. Not horrible, of course, but I guess maybe slightly underwhelmed, maybe, to be honest.
And Soul, what about you as well? Like, where were you feeling going into this show, and how did you feel coming out of the first episode?
Well, I was really excited going into this show because I say I'm a child of the prequels. The first Star Wars movie I ever saw was Attack of the Clones. I'm younger than these 2 beautiful gentlemen I have with me here. So I was really excited to see Ewan McGregor, first phenomenal actor, but back in the role as Obi-Wan Kenobi. So it was high anticipation for this show. And maybe because I had such a high anticipation for it, it didn't really meet where I wanted it to be. Still an okay episode, but there is some frustrating parts and that I had with it.
I was kind of in a different camp in that I was super stoked going into this because even though I'm not, I'm kind of a child of the prequels, kind of not. Like when I was growing up, the special edition of the original trilogy came out. So I had that for a number of years before the prequels. But even going into the prequels, I've always thought that Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi was, and I think pretty much universally is agreed, as one of the best things that they did. So there was kind of that for me, which is more of an excitement to see that again. I didn't dislike Book of Boba Fett as much as a lot of people seem to. I do agree that the last two and a half episodes are kind of the best of the whole show. I found myself enjoying the flashbacks to the Tusken Raiders a lot more than I did the present day stuff with Boba Fett. So I wasn't as I hate to use the phrase watered down, but I wasn't as like going into this one. I was still plenty excited. Obi-Wan's one of my favorite Star Wars characters, easily, and Ewan McGregor is one of my top 3 favorite actors. So going into it, I won't say my expectations were high, but my excitement was high. And I also just had no idea what to expect. Anything was on the table, and so I came out of the first episode pleasantly surprised, but scratching my head a little bit. I mean, there were definitely some things I didn't love, but I think the pros vastly outweighed the cons. So with that being said, I think we've kind of hit the point now. It's like we got to start getting to some detailed stuff. So I'm just going to throw this up there. Just, yeah. If you haven't watched the show, the first 2 episodes yet, go and then come back at this point. So let's talk. I want to get into some positivity here. So let's talk a little bit more about some things we liked. We all kind of universally agree on Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. Soul, what was your favorite thing from this first episode?
Ooh, favorite thing. Probably I go in like the creature design like looks amazing with the Eope. So like I wrote that down. I was like, this looks awesome. Or the fact that we were seeing scenes from the prequels at the very beginning. We're seeing another take on Order 66. Those are cool things that Star Wars fans like us who are invested and watch everything, or you guys play everything we've heard before in a previous, I'm not a gamer. But the fact that we're seeing these little things that are super interesting to watch. The scenes with Owen, Lars, and Obi-Wan, like that was some of the best stuff. And so there was a lot of cool moments like that. So you have like great moments in this episode, and then again, like not so great moments.
And what about you, Bogz? Like favorite stuff that came out of this first episode?
Yeah, as Saul said there, the flashbacks of the prequels being cut, you know, obviously seeing Anakin, Obi-Wan, Padme, Yoda, Mace Windu, Qui-Gon, all the flash, you know, just like a quick highlights reel, and seeing them kind of in Obi-Wan's visions as well as he's with his PTSD, you know, in his dreams. Obviously, this is 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, so obviously this must have been way worse over the years, and this is how he's kind of managing it at the moment. And seeing the opening scene, which is obviously seeing Order 66 being enacted in the Jedi Temple, and having the Padawans kind of escaping, and that Jedi clone troopers, you know, coming in to try and eliminate them, and obviously they have a Jedi Master trying to defend them, and then dying, and then seeing that kind of different view of the Jedi Temple. And I was really hoping that Hayden Christian was going to walk in and kind of take people out and stuff. So maybe that'll come later in another flashback, but I was kind of on the edge of my seat at first. And then just all the little subtle things. I liked Obi-Wan's discussion with the Jawa. I thought that was really funny. And then him buying the shuttle, you know, the Imperial shuttle. Because initially I didn't recognize it. I thought, I know this ship from somewhere. Where is it? And then, of course, he takes it to the Skywalker, you know, where they stay, and that's Luke's obviously ship that he plays with, you know, in A New Hope, or it's, you know, similar one. But we see that, you know, Uncle Owen throws it back to him, and doesn't want any part, you know, doesn't want Obi-Wan to be any part of Luke's life. And seeing that kind of whole discussion where you know, Obi-Wan's just asking how he is, you know, and it all kind of, you know, Uncle Owen was saying all you care about if he's showing signs, you know, if he wants to, you know, shows in the ways of the Force. So I did love all that. And yeah, also the just the kind of seeing Obi-Wan in different emotions, and just going about his day. Initially, you know, I liked seeing it. I thought it did drag on a bit, which we'll come to in a second. But yeah, overall, you know, start strong. I like to see that him getting the lightsaber back up from the desert, seeing obviously the slightly modified Anakin's slightly modified saber from, you know, Revenge of the Sith. I thought I would see that, the modifications. I was hoping I would see that, because obviously there's lightsabers different from Revenge of the Sith to A New Hope, slightly different, but obviously he's done that in between the last 10 years. And then seeing, oh, sorry, how can I forget? Seeing, you know, I to be honest, I really liked the Leia version, you know, the kid version of Leia. I thought the casting was fantastic. She looks great. She sounds great. You know, she's a little smart-ass kid. She's funny. I was super impressed by it. I thought she was going to be an annoying kid. You know, I did hear rumors that a young Princess Leia was going to be in this, but it was still a surprise to see it. And then seeing her relationship with Bail Organa and her mother, and seeing Alderaan as well. Alderaan looked fantastic. Obviously, we only got a couple of scenes in that from the prequels, but yeah, that was super impressive. And then, yeah, that was pretty it for the positives. You know, just happy to be back with Obi-Wan. You're pleasantly surprised with young Leia. Although I didn't love every single scene, but just the casting in particular, and the little girl who is in it, and the dialogue that they use, I thought was really smart, because she seems like really inquisitive, and like she has a lot of potential. So, and she may be slightly force sensitive in how she reads people, and the little kind of discussion she has with her cousins, and seeing that she's a bit of a, you know, she's got something about her. I definitely appreciated that. But yeah, and then having that nice shot of Luke, we got a little bit more of it. You know, it was sweet seeing how we did see it in the trailer, how he gets on top and, you know, tries to be the pilot and stuff. And then Obi-Wan obviously leaves the kind of toy shuttle for Luke. I thought it was sweet. But yeah, there were the kind of highlights, just being back with Obi-Wan being the main highlight.
Yeah, I was kind of the same way, where everything that was, and this is going to sound a little member berries-y, but like all the stuff that was familiar was really good. Everything to do with Obi-Wan and Owen's interaction was absolutely fantastic. I love the negative chemistry they have. Like, I love how it's clear they don't really like each other, but it doesn't feel like they're trying to sell me they don't like each other. It's like, no, I genuinely believe these guys don't like each other.
Right.
And I loved, this is a dark thing to say, I loved seeing the Jedi Temple getting massacred at the beginning. This is the second time now,
I did too, yeah,
since Book of Boba Fett, that we've seen more of Order 66. We saw that little flashback that from when Luke read Grogu's mind, spoiler alert, in that, and you know, we saw
Bad Batch too.
Yeah, and Bad Batch in Jedi Fallen Order. We got a lot more stuff with Order 6. So, and I've heard a lot of people say this in the last few years, and I do agree. It seems like we're kind of going back to acknowledging the prequels exist. We're not treating them like, you know, the redheaded stepchild. You know, we're treating them like, no, they're a part of this too, and there are good things there. And I agree with you, Bogz. All the stuff on Alderaan was fantastic. I hadn't heard any of the rumors that we were getting young Leia.
Neither
So
did
I knew Jimmy Smits was back. But when I saw the plan, I had to scratch my head for a sec, because yeah, we only saw like the one shot in Revenge of the Sith, and I was like, where the hell are we? This is obviously not Tatooine. And once I could see they were basically dressing a young girl, I was like, oh, and I wasn't sure they were gonna I wasn't sure where they were gonna go. So let alone like, oh, we're not only gonna get a young Leia, we're getting like young Leia as a main character. Okay, not the direction I saw. I thought we were gonna get young Luke, because it's Obi-Wan. When you think Obi-Wan in the desert on Tatooine, Leia never comes to mind. And yeah, you do get that idea that like some of her, we'll call them diplomatic instincts, they're just sass. It's sass. You feel like her sass is linked to the Force. She has Force sass powers. She can read people like her. Everyone's got a cousin like that. Everyone has a cousin like that. And if you don't have a cousin like that, you are the cousin like that. And it was such an interesting to see how even from such a young age, she was just very resourceful, very knowledgeable. And yeah, as far as any of the new stuff that really stuck out, I mean, like all the designs, I love that what we've done with Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, even though they're separate timelines. I love seeing how the rest of the galaxy works outside of the Empire and the Rebellion. Like, I like seeing just the regular world in Star Wars. I like seeing how people make their livings. Like the fact that Obi-Wan's working at essentially a butcher's conveyor belt thing,
a meatpacking plant.
the meatpacking plant. I'm like, that, you know what? That's kind of interesting. I kind of like seeing the not really glamorous, but just kind of that more down to earth side of things, seeing how regular people live their lives in the galaxy that is Star Wars. So that's, yeah, lot to like in this first ep. And I also I like that it was a slower episode and it took its time, just really kind of establishing, like, this is the world we're in. This is where we're at. This is giving you clear idea of where we're at timeline wise and what everyone's going through. That is kind of where my positives end. Let's get into a little bit of what we were alluding to earlier when we were talking about the cast stuff. So we get introduced to some new characters, new-ish characters to the live action world in the Inquisitors. We have, I don't have the cast list in front of me, but we have the Grand Inquisitor, who we know from season 1 of Rebels, as well as the 5th brother and the 3rd sister.
I think it's the 3rd sister. Yeah.
All right, I'm 3 for 3. Cool. And then another one who we don't get any name recognition of. And there's been online chatter about the look and design of the Grand Inquisitor since the first trailer came out. If you've never seen Rebels, you probably don't care. If you have, it's a little jarring. How do you feel about the Grand Inquisitor in this thing, Bogz?
Yeah, all the Inquisitors look whack to me. They look pretty whack. Especially the Grand Inquisitor. Yeah, he's from the character. Obviously, is in all the iterations of Star Wars. For example, Star Wars Rebels. He's from Utapau. So them creatures have elongated faces. He looks nothing like that, of course. But thankfully, they did color his eyes. He has yellow eyes in this. In the trailer, he did not. So I don't know. That was because of the fan reaction that I was relieved when I saw the eyes being yellow, because that him having brown eyes in the trailer was just super weird for me.
Didn't catch that.
That's played by Rupert Friend, by the way, well-known actor.
Thank you.
And obviously the guy, he's in the Fast and Furious movies, Sung Kang. He's the other one, the 5th brother, sorry, and the 3rd one is obviously is it Reva? Yeah, she's extremely annoying for me. Just really self-entitled, super angry immediately. We have no idea why, not giving us any backstory. Really kind of hunting Obi-Wan, doesn't listen to instructions, doesn't listen to orders. We don't know why. I'm presuming we're going to get her backstory a little bit, but immediately being confused about that character. For me, the slower parts or the least favorite parts were around the Inquisitors. Also, I'll say the repetitiveness of Obi-Wan doing the mundane tasks. For me, I believe there's 6 episodes. I was thinking by the 2nd or 3rd time he's, in the meat thing, I was like, we ain't got time for this. We need to move on. I mean, I'm even okay with him staying on Tatooine. There's so many things he could be doing. And, in a lot of the legend stuff and the comic stuff, he used to fight against Tusken Raiders to keep sharp, to keep him, that kind of thing. And, to keep himself in condition, just things like that, so many little missions and side, there's so many gangsters on Tatooine and things like that. And yeah, for them to just do mundane tasks, I was a little frustrated with that. Also, the fact that, Reva tried to kill Uncle Owen, or not tried to kill him, he was threatening him with his life. And then for him to almost immediately leave to obviously protect Leia, which I understand because Leia leads him, and obviously Bail Organa did. But you're just leaving Luke, Luke and Uncle Owen, who are potentially just being threatened, really vulnerable. Yeah, they'll probably be safe within that time. But I just felt like, oh, okay, like where do your allegiances here? Was specifically told by Yoda to look after Luke, and then he just kind of almost really easily kind of quickly goes off. So that kind of was a little jarring. Yeah, really, I think they're the kind of major negatives, the Inquisitors, and some of the stuff with, like I said, on Tatooine with Obi-Wan was a little slow. But yeah, overall, they were kind of my biggest negatives.
Soul, what about you? Where were you sitting with kind of the stuff that just didn't really sit well with you with this episode?
Mainly, and this is with both of the episodes, and we'll do the second episode later, but it's the Inquisitors. I don't find them scary, menacing, intimidating, and I did when I would watch Rebels. Like, they were menacing. They are some of them former Jedi who have gone to the dark side, who are out going and hunting Jedi, going to kill them, working under Darth Vader. These are scary people, and I was not scared at all. For Obi-Wan, for Owen, for anyone really. I was just like, they just seem like angry punks. Kind of, you're watching it and you're like, okay, who are these people that just landed? Like, I wouldn't be scared. So there was an intimidation factor that wasn't there, and also like not even that, but like in their voices too. Like they didn't have that presence with their voice or their body. I felt like what was the acting direction that they were given, because it just did not come out menacing. It just came out like angry.
No, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Sorry. No, I thought you were done. Go ahead.
And then the other thing, which is Bogz said it as a positive, I didn't like Leia that much. I found her very kid actory, but I don't really fault her for that. So on the things that I really fault the Inquisitors for and their acting choices, I'm just like, this is a kid, so I don't expect the acting skills to be top notch. The things that really annoyed me are kind of like in the running away sequences, which you also see this in the second episode later, is that I don't know where they're staging her with other people, but she's like literally right next to people, like in grabbing distance, and she still gets away. And that like they have her run too late and they linger on scenes where it's just like, no, she would have been caught like immediately. Why aren't they farther away from each other? How is she getting away? And I don't know if it was just like, these are things that I wouldn't really focus on, but I was ending up focusing on it and it was taking me out of it.
Yeah, and the fact that she's a 10 and they're 3 grown assassins and they can't
Yeah.
catch her. That was, I thought the
Yeah.
same thing. It did definitely take me out. But I let her off because I quite enjoyed the character.
I thought the actress they got to play young Leia did a fine job. I have a hard time judging child actors, mostly because I don't like kids. But that's a me thing. That's purely a me thing. I was at a movie theater today and there were obnoxious kids there. Anyway, so but like you guys, I had big problems with the Inquisitors, primarily the third sister. I really felt like a lot of the scenes they used with her were the first take. I don't buy her anger at all because she sounds like she's reading it off a teleprompter half the time. It really didn't do anything for me. The other Inquisitors I didn't get enough of to really pass judgment on. The Grand Inquisitor, the fifth brother. If I get, and even after 2 episodes, I still don't really get enough of them. I think I get more for the fifth brother, to where I'm a little more on board with him in the episode 2, but we'll talk about that when we talk about episode 2. But the third sister is real. They're gonna have to pull some major miracles with her going forward for me to be on board with her. If she's gonna be our main antagonist, I need to see something more, because like I said, this felt like a lot of first takes with her, and if the first take was the best take, I'm a little worried. Also, as far as kind of like what you guys said, like, yeah, it seems like he just kind of leaves like without much coercion. Like they call him, they're like, can you go do this for us? No, I can't do it. Bail shows up, please. Yeah, okay, I guess I can do it. And for a guy who's trying to be inconspicuous and not stand out as a Jedi, he looks like a Jedi. I mean, he's wearing the white tunic and the white pants and the brown boots and the brown cloak with the hood. He's got the lightsaber in full view. Like the lady's like, are you getting on board? And just flips the cloak back and there's the lightsaber. Hang on one sec. Like, do you see my lightsaber while I'm getting the money out of my pocket? Yeah. It's like you're not even trying, dude. It was like, I'm like, Ewan, I love you, but, and this obviously wasn't your decision, but it just, not sitting right with me. And as far as the staging thing, like you mentioned, so when that guy runs into the tree branch chasing Leia, I had to pause and go, that looked terrible.
Right.
Because he's like walking up to it and then kind of half run. It's like you would see that. You would
Yeah, it
see
was too
that.
comical. It was too comical.
Yeah.
And it just looked like he was bracing
Just play
himself.
the
Like there was the Benny Hall music, and it almost looked like he knew the branch was coming and was bracing himself for it.
Right.
I did like getting to see Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers show up in this thing because he shows up in stuff all the time. He was in Back to the Future too. He's done a lot of acting. He's actually pretty good for what they give him to do. We get more of him in episode 2. But yeah, it seems like everything to do with the antagonists in this is where they're not quite hitting for me yet. And we'll get into more of that in episode 2. But the one other thing I will say with the third sister is just, so given the time frame this takes place in, because this is 10 years after episode 3, Jedi Fallen Order, the game, Bogz, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 5 years after episode 3.
I don't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, I believe so.
It's somewhere to where like we're not going to see the second sister show up. Like she's dead at this point. It almost feels like if they had set this show 5 years earlier, they could have had that be the second sister and would have been a really cool tie-in to Jedi Fallen Order, because she kind of feels like she's just filling that role, which is the angry human woman character. Only this one, I don't believe. But I don't want to just keep shitting on this thing. Let's try and end with some positivity here, which is, other than Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, of the actors in this first episode, who is your favorite? Let's start with Bogz.
Probably Joel Edgerton. But yeah, I'd say because they were just all really side characters getting introduced. You know, there was no other kind of, well, obviously Bail Organa again, but and I have to say the young Princess Leia, you know, I really liked her. So they're my favorites.
And what about you, Sol?
I would say that it would be Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa, and then Joel Edgerton as well. They were great. Yeah,
I'm sitting with Jimmy Smits on this one. Anytime he shows up in anything, I'm excited. I love Jimmy Smits so much.
I love him so much.
So that's what we think. We'd love to know what you guys think as well. You can follow all of us on Twitter. All the links and stuff are down in the bottom. And check us out there. Let us know what you think on Twitter. Make sure you check out our episode 2 review, which you'll be able to find not long after this one's been uploaded, if you're watching these in real time. And check out our trailer reactions that we have so far from Star Wars Celebration going on right now. And until next time, on behalf of Bogz and Sol, I'm Mike, and we're gonna leave now. That's the end. The video's over. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back again soon with the new one. Bye.